Today I'm going to show you how to use the new Speedgrade CC to get the cinematic look in your footage. The only thing I have to preface that with is it's not a magic bullet. You can't just necessarily take that footage and apply it to your footage without making some adjustments in the first place. But that being said, this will get your footage 90% of the way there. The shot matching option is not necessarily being used for its intended purpose. What it was made for is if you're out on a shoot and there's an exposure change or a white balance change, something along those lines. Now you can go in there and put the footage side by side, and choosing that option, hitting that button, you'll be able to go in and match the shots up closely. But what we're doing in this case is taking a color scheme that we've seen in a movie. Maybe we can grab a movie poster, take that and apply that look and move it over to our footage. So here we are in Adobe Speedgrade CC. This is the main screen and this is where I keep my footage. They refer to this as their desktop, but it's not necessarily the Windows desktop. That's one thing you have to make sure of. So in other words, in this case it could say desktop Dave and then desktop, meaning my Windows desktop, because I have a Windows machine. But you just designate a folder. You're able to locate it in the tree over here. And what I'll do now is I'll select this footage. It's not mine. I got it off a forum. What I'll do is hit the plus. That moves it down to the timeline. And then what I'll do from here is go to the next tab, which is the color tab. Okay, and here we are in the color tab. And what I'll do is a quick overall adjustment. I'm just going to adjust the contrast a little bit just for our purposes here. Obviously you can go ahead and make more, but just for the purposes of this video I'm going to go ahead and do that. Dial it back a little bit. And then what I'm going to do now is go over here to this arrow, and this will show us the snapshots tab. As you can see, I've already added some footage in there. All you have to do is click on one of them. In this case we use this one. Make sure that this three-way color button is selected. That's going to toggle your grading on and off. So actually if we were to do that now, what it will do is hide the primary adjustments I just made. But what we want to use it for, this screen, is this option right here, this button with the arrow and the color wheel. So I'm going to click on that, and it copied everything over. It produces somewhat of an oversaturated image, and it's not going to be always the case. It always obviously depends on the footage. But of course you can just come back in here, and I'm going to expand this option down here, come down to primary. I'm going to add another layer and dial back that saturation just a little bit. And again, that's not perfect. We can continue to make adjustments, but you get the idea. Of course, if you were to come back in here, you can use other footage and it will basically overwrite what you've done. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Click on that same button with the arrow. And there you go. Again, you'll probably have to adjust the exposure in this particular case. But it doesn't create a new layer. What it will do is down here, it will replace the auto color match that you've already performed. So let me try this again. Now this particular footage came up small because that's how I downloaded it. It's probably best that you get stuff that matches the size of your footage. So what you can do is come into Google here, and as you can see I've already typed in orange teal color scheme. So I'm going to go into search tools, size, exactly, and the footage that I had was 1920 by 1080. And then from there, you basically just find a picture that you like, click on it. With Google, what you have to do is view original image, and then you right click on the image once it's there. Now let's see if we can find something here. And this would work fine for our purposes. So we view the image, we pull it up on our screen, right click, save image as, save picture as in this case, and then you basically just have to designate a folder for this. I already have a snapshots SG folder created. You really don't have to necessarily save this particular file in that folder, because what you'll have to end up doing is taking that image wherever it is, bring it into Photoshop or GIMP or whatever you want to bring it into, and save it as a target file. Once you create a target file for it, that's when you're putting it in this folder. The JPEGs that you see here are the preview images that we saw on the other screen. Those you don't have to create. Once SpeedGrade opens, it creates those based off of your target files. So all you're doing now is actually saving the file, which is going to be brought into your editor, picture editor, saved as a target. That's basically it. Moved into a folder that you designate, which you then have to navigate to within SpeedGrade, and then that would create the JPEG previews that you see here. Now I'm just going to save this in this folder regardless, because you can have it in the same folder, but once you have it downloaded and converted, you don't need that image anymore. But that's really all there is to it. You can continue to do this for the rest of your footage so that all your footage looks the same. And all you'll have to do from there is go over here to render. And this is stuff that I'll address in another video. This was just a quick tip to show you how you can use the color scheme from a movie poster, essentially, to give it that sort of Hollywood cinematic feature film kind of look, and copy it over here. Obviously, you can come down here to the Layers tab, continue to make your adjustments, go back to the Render tab, and go ahead and render it out. So hopefully that helped. It's a very nice feature. Again, I wouldn't use it to pop it on the footage, call it a day, walk away, and that's all. But it definitely gets you there, and you can go ahead and make the adjustments from that point. As always, thanks for watching. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.